So hello and welcome everyone. So हमारे साथ है सिद्धि सिसोदिया and she qualified UGC NET JRF this year in commerce subject and she scored a very good percentile 99.73 percentile. एंड आज हम उनके साथ बात करके ये देखेंगे और ये जानेंगे कि उन्होंने कैसे अपनी प्रिपरेशन को डिजाइन किया, क्या क्या चीजें थी जो उन्होंने फॉलो करी एंड उनके मुझे हमें उम्मीद है कि इस चीज से जो आज टिप्स वो शेयर करेंगे इससे काफी स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिनको हेल्प मिलेगी। एंड एडंकल ये एक इनिशिएटिव लेके आया है जिसमें हम हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं और ये हेल्प करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं जो नए एस्पिरेंट्स हैं उनके लिए कि कैसे वो स्टार्टिंग से ही अपनी प्रिपरेशन को डिजाइन करें ताकि बेटर तरीके से वो विदाउट वेस्टिंग एनी टाइम जितना जल्दी हो सके लाइक इवन इन फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट वो अपना यूजीसी विद जेआरएफ क्लियर कर सकें। सो वेलकम सिद्धि एंड यू कैन अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ नाउ एंड हम इसको एक बहुत इंटरेक्टिव सेशन हमारा आज होने वाला है। सो आई विल बी आस्किंग सम वेरी जनरल क्वेश्चंस विद यू एंड अगेन वेलकम टू द एडंकल चैनल एंड कांग्रेट्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ऑन योर ग्रैंड सक्सेस फॉर यूजीसी नेट कॉमर्स।
Thank you so much, sir.
थैंक यू। Yeah, so before starting, we'll start with your brief background कि आपका एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड क्या रहा है एंड आपने कैसे डिसाइड किया कि आपको यूजीसी नेट की प्रिपरेशन करनी है।
So I graduated from Delhi University and I started my MCom last year only from Delhi University Open. It is from Opens because I had a job earlier. So in February I left my job and then I started for UGC NET preparations for this 2021 attempt. And first I came across a teacher in my college in my second year of graduation. She was assistant professor there in DU. So interacting with her, I got to know that I also want to go in academics, in teaching. So thereon I started preparing and I started looking into the options, what I should do, what is the process. There only I got to know about UGC NET and everything related to it. So from second year of my graduation, I was pretty clear that I want to go in this direction, but the limit is master's, post-graduation. So I waited till the second year of my, or till first year of my graduation. I started in mid first year.
Okay.
And then, that's the pretty much my education background. Earlier I was like I want to do MBA and then it all got changed. It is a journey of education, so you can change things. So now I'm in my post graduation I was clear, 100% clear that is the way I want to go.
एंड अगर आपका पूरा प्रिपरेशन टाइम को हम डिफाइन करें तो लाइक सीरियस प्रिपरेशन टाइम जो आपका रहा है तो कितने मंथ्स आपने प्रिपेयर किया फॉर यूजीसी नेट? जस्ट टू गिव एन आइडिया कि कितने अगर सीरियस प्रिपरेशन की हम बात करें तो कितने मंथ्स सफिशिएंट होते हैं फॉर सीरियस कैंडिडेट?
Actually, I started in February and my plan was कि let's go one attempt in a try in April. There was an attempt in April last year, so I was like, let's give this as a try and then I'll give the another one in full preparation. But the attempt got postponed till November. So the studies become serious after one postponement, like let's study now. So in starting, I was serious from the starting only. I was not giving it leniently because the two attempts sound very burdened. If you plan 2 attempts, it's burdened. So from starting, I was serious. I used to devote my whole time to this, like very little time to college and everything. There was total lockdown.
Correct.
So everything is from home. So we had more time to invest in these studies because of the online college and everything. So it took approx 9 months of studies, which includes 6 months of like full concentrated studies and 3 months leniency, we can say, because I had some medical issues for a month and I could not study and like that. So 6 months of study is required because there are a lot to cover. We are doing our specialization in masters like in marketing or finance, but in UGC NET you need to study everything. There is no specialization there. Every plus paper 1. So 6 months to minimum, I guess. It's minimum. You should study.
Yeah, so actually, as you said correctly, the syllabus is also pretty huge, and covering that also, like even in 6 months, is a challenge for many of the students. So that will bring me to the next part of our conversation. And that will be dividing the discussion into two parts, because in UGC नेट जनरली दो पेपर होते हैं, एक जनरल पेपर वन होता है और फिर एक आपका जो कोर सब्जेक्ट है उसका पेपर होता है. तो लेट्स गो फॉर द जनरल पेपर वन फर्स्ट. So in general paper one there are 10 units, right? So and general paper one has also has a good amount of variation in terms of उसमें कुछ जो चैप्टर्स होते हैं वो मैथमेटिकल ज्यादा है, जैसे डीआई हो गया, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग हो गया. कुछ चैप्टर्स हैं जो थ्योरेटिकल ज्यादा होते हैं, जैसे टीचिंग एप्टीट्यूड, रिसर्च एप्टीट्यूड हो गया. एंड देन देयर इज कम्युनिकेशन ऑल्सो. सो आपने बैलेंस कैसे किया कि आपने पहले कैसे यूनिट सेलेक्ट किए और उनकी मेरिट के अकॉर्डिंग आपने सेलेक्ट किया या वेटेज के अकॉर्डिंग सेलेक्ट किया, और फिर क्वेश्चन थ्योरी और क्वेश्चंस में कैसे आपने बैलेंस क्रिएट किया, क्योंकि काफी वेरिएशन होता है, जैसे कुछ थ्योरेटिकल ज्यादा है, कुछ न्यूमेरिकल ज्यादा है, तो इसमें आपने इसको कैसे मैनेज किया?
So the best part of the first paper is there is a demarcated weighted, like 5 questions from each unit. That is not the case with second paper. There
Correct.
can be any number of questions from any unit. So paper one, we had a clear mind that every unit consists of 5 questions, that is 10 marks.
Correct.
And so every unit must have equal weightage. You could not focus on only research and ignore the teaching. It's not possible there, because research will also give 5 questions and teaching will also give 5 questions. So similarly, I divided the whole unit except the DI and LR, the DI and that reading comprehension portion.
Mhm.
I did not prepare specifically for those questions. I used to solve daily one question each. Like today one DI, tomorrow one LR, like that, to practice, because these are practice based questions. You cannot, there are no tricks, nothing, just the practice and calculation speed. So the only strategy I follow is a daily practice for that, and reading speed. There is a small DI in paper, but I used to solve the larger DI ones so that I have a practice to do the large questions. The smaller questions will automatically be solved in the paper. And same with DI. I used to solve the tougher DIs also, not just the easy ones, the tough DIs also, so that the practice will remain thorough. In last 3 months, 2 to 3 months. Earlier, I didn't touch DI, LR. My maths is not that bad. Some people have like very, very tough. They find it very tough. So they need to start from very beginning, solving each topic, one time travel, the time distance. They take 15 days to go through that, and then again percentage, then number system. So I divided whole maths thing. I took only 2 months. In last 2 months, I used to solve all PYQs of maths.
Okay.
So the clock questions and 2-3 topics I find it difficult, so I used to solve those questions only. Otherwise, maths I find pretty easy. So practice, I guess, in these three, the questions which we have to solve, the practice is the only option. We know this is the formula and this is we have to apply. So if more and more questions we solve, the more and more patterns we used to get, like this is the pattern in which question is coming. At last, when we sit for the exam, we know we have solved 100 types of questions, so there is always any one of them is coming. There are like 20 to 30 types of question every topic, not more than that. No one can create more questions from that. So practice is must, in especially in the numerical portion. Then it comes to the theory. The most important is concept clarity. Like you should know what type of research is it. There are so many types of research, 20-30 types of research, and questions will definitely come from types of research. It is there in PYQ, it is there in every paper. Okay, there is a type of research question, so you have to understand every point clearly. It's not about learning the definition. No, it's not about memorizing the definitions, or it's about understanding the examples, like, because questions will be application based. It was not like what is exploratory research. They will give an example and ask which type of research is there. Similarly in teaching also, in communication and IT, especially the IT one, in which we have computers and their parts and that portion, that unit was more of memorizing one. The environment unit, these units are come into the category of memorizing questions. So in computers IT unit, we have to like memorize the what type of memories, their power, type of computers parts, softwares, hardwares. We cannot they are nothing about concepts. They are all about memorizing. These things are all about memorizing. What is part is called what is connecting unit and everything. Similarly with a plant environment chapter, the unit that also everything is memorizing, pollution, pollutants. So that's how the
Yeah.
few portion is practice, few is conceptual clarity, few is memorizing.
So
So you
yeah,
have to divide,
correct.
yeah,
To
divide all thing like that.
to summarize, like the mathematical portion that requires a lot of question practice, so that is one part.
Yeah.
And फिर जैसे research aptitude and जो teaching aptitude है, इसमें like to understand the theory and to be prepared कि वहां पर डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा, पर आपने जो पढ़ा है उसको समझ के आपको उसका आंसर करना होता है, तो वहां पर उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग काफी ज्यादा रिक्वायर्ड है. एंड देन कमिंग टू एनवायरमेंट एंड आईसीटी, तो यहाँ पर इट इज मोर ऑफ अ मेमोराइजेशन. तो इसमें आई गेस रिपीटेड रीडिंग और रिपीटेड उसको बार बार रिवीजन जो करना होता है वो काफी ज्यादा क्रूशियल रहता होगा. सो इसके अंदर एक स्टूडेंट एक चैलेंज फेस करते हैं, जैसे वो आपने कैसे किया, जैसे एक क्योंकि सिलेबस जैसे आपने बोला बहुत ज्यादा होता है, तो जनरल पेपर वन के अंदर लाइक जो मटेरियल होता है क्वेश्चन सेलेक्ट करना कि सही क्वेश्चंस हम करें, और उसका भी एक बैलेंस होता है. जैसे एक तो होता है फ्रेश क्वेश्चंस करना होता है, दूसरा प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस करना होता है. एंड फिर जैसे रिसर्च एप्टीट्यूड है, इसके अंदर करेक्ट थ्योरी जो हो गई, तो वो थ्योरी हम कैसे सेलेक्ट करें, कहाँ से, तो आपने कैसे मटेरियल को यूज किया. इसमें अगर आपने एडंकल का मटेरियल यूज किया तो आप उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं कि उसको आपने यूज कैसे किया, क्योंकि मटेरियल को यूज करना, सही तरीके से यूज करना भी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आप ये बोल दीजिए कि तरीका होता है जिसके बेसिस पे आप आउटपुट मैक्सिमम निकाल सकते हैं.
Yes. So actually, starting in the very starting for 1 month, the first month of my study, I didn't touch paper 2. It was all about paper 1 because paper 1 is everything is new. Nothing is like, yeah, I have done it before. So I used to read the material which I have from Eduncle. I just gave it a thorough reading. It was not memorizing. It was just understanding and reading. So that 1 month I divided into units, not making a timetable. I just went through like units one by one, reading it, give it 4-5 hours a day to a unit. So that is very important. That build up a base for me that yeah, that is the basics, that is the main important thing on which we have to now create a solve the questions to prepare more. And then the most important thing is PYQs in paper 1, I must say, because every year there are around 20-30 papers of paper 1. 20-30 question papers came from NTA in exams. So we have lots and lots of PYQs to practice. If we take only 5 years back now, there are going to be hundreds of questions per unit.
Correct.
So it's best to first focus on PYQs. If you completed the PYQs, then go for MCQs, because you can leave the MCQs, but don't ever leave PYQs. PYQs is the most important because through PYQs you will get what type of questions will come.
And
the type and yeah. So PYQs practice should be there from starting. So you know how to approach the material, how to approach the questions. Only PYQ will make you understand that.
बिल्कुल, like it gives you a feeling and also make you familiar कि किस तरह के क्वेश्चन एक्चुअल एग्जाम में पूछे जा रहे हैं. So that will give you an idea of the level of the questions जो उसमें पूछे जाते हैं, definitely. And one more thing, in this like so while practicing the PYQs, तो इसमें एक होता है थोड़ा सा टाइम मैनेजमेंट का भी इसके अंदर कॉन्सेप्ट रहता है कि काफी बार ऐसा होता है कि स्टूडेंट जो है उनको ऐसा लगता है जनरली कि जनरल एप्टीट्यूड के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लग जाता है. तो इसमें इस क्वेश्चन को मैं 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड करूंगा. पहले तो किसके अंदर आपने ये कैसे मैनेज किया कि आप जो क्वेश्चंस थे वो एक फिक्स टाइम के अंदर सॉल्व कर पा रहे थे, मतलब स्पीड आपने कैसे अपनी इसके अंदर मेंटेन करी, सेकंड फर्स्ट पॉइंट. और सेकंड पॉइंट इसके अंदर अगर हम देखें तो कि जनरल पेपर वन का जो एक्चुअल इंपॉर्टेंस होता है, काफी बच्चे कहते हैं जनरल पेपर वन को बहुत लाइटली लेते हैं कि ठीक है तो इजी है, हो जाएगा. और इन दी एंड होता यह है कि पेपर 2 में तो क्योंकि उसमें फोकस किया उनके अच्छे परसेंटाइल आ जाते हैं, पर जनरल पेपर 1 में जनरली परसेंटाइल कम होने की वजह से उनका सिलेक्शन रह जाता है. सो हाउ इंपॉर्टेंट इज जनरल पेपर 1, एंड ऑल्सो विल लव योर इनपुट्स ऑन द टाइम मैनेजमेंट कि हाउ डिड यू मैनेज टाइम स्पीड, योर स्पीड इन सॉल्विंग द क्वेश्चंस.
So first time the paper got postponed in April, I guess, and then April to it's directly become to October. So initially there was nothing in my mind about managing because there was only 2 months I was giving whatever I can get. I just studying. Mm-hmm. After first postponement, I really divided everything. Now I have to focus this much on that, this much on that. So we know the syllabus of paper 2 is wider than syllabus of paper 1, but the paper 1 is very important because everything is new and it is the basics, because even if we clear UGC net, after that also paper 1 will have more weightage about research and teaching, because in interview these questions are gonna ask.
Correct.
So paper 1 we should give in the initial phase of our study, the time should be divided equally between paper 1 and paper 2. As we approach further, the time of paper 1 should be reduced and time of paper 2 should be increased, because then the paper 2 is also a very conceptual and very lengthy. So if you understand paper 1 very thoroughly in the initial phase of your study, then it will become easy to just revise. You have in last 2-3 months, you just only have to revise everything. So then you will require less time for paper 1. So initially, don't think like there are only 50 questions in paper 1 and there are 100 questions in paper 2. So I should focus on paper 2. Nothing like that. You should focus on paper 1, because I have seen many people that they lose their net or JRF just because of the paper 1.
Correct.
Because you are studying your paper 2 from your 11th class.
Yep.
You know something. You know at least 25 to 20 questions from those 100 questions without even touching a book.
Correct. So to all the viewers, this is a very important point, that paper 1 is equally important, and you can say it is a rank maker or rank breaker. अगर आप इसमें अच्छा करते हैं तो आपकी rank definitely improve हो सकती है. So don't take it lightly. And syllabus wise also it is very, although it's you can say weightage is 1/3, but syllabus wise commerce के comparison में अगर आपका जो भी core paper है उसके comparison में अगर देखें तो इसका syllabus comparatively आधे से भी कम होता है. तो अगर आप इस पर अच्छे से फोकस करते हैं डेफिनेटली, तो यू विल बी गेटिंग गुड मार्क्स एंड गुड परसेंटाइल. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी विल बी लुकिंग फॉर पेपर 1. देन कमिंग टू योर कोर पेपर विच इज कॉमर्स. सो कॉमर्स के अंदर जैसे अपने अगर हम यूनिट्स में इसको डिवाइड करते हैं, तो कॉमर्स एक बहुत ही, तो इसके अंदर बड़ा सिलेबस और इसके अंदर जो यूनिट्स होते हैं अराउंड 10 यूनिट्स हैं. तो कॉमर्स के अंदर आपने कैसे अपनी स्टडीज को डिवाइड किया, कैसे यूनिट्स को प्रायोरिटाइज किया कि किन यूनिट्स को मुझे कैसे पढ़ना है, थियोरेटिकल न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चंस अगर उसमें होते हैं तो उनको कैसे आपने गेज किया. तो अगर आप इसमें यूनिट वाइज थोड़ा थोड़ा बता सकते हैं कि किस यूनिट में किन किन चीजों का ध्यान रखना होता है while studying, then that will be a very good insight into preparation.
Yes, sir. Initially, when I started commerce studying about paper 2, after 1 month of my study, I didn't start with PYQ. I was not knowing like in commerce also I should go with PYQ, but very important. PYQs are very important in commerce too, because there are few topics which you will find recurring in every year. So they are the favorite topics. They are the most important topics. So they should not be left in any chance, in any cases. Every unit has that kind of topics which you will remember only if you solve 5 years back PYQs, 6 year back PYQs. They are important, plus MCQs. Again, if we let's start from unit 1, the business environment unit.
Mm-hmm.
In this unit, the main portion is the current environment, current business environment, the type of business environments, the basic knowledge of business environment. They're not going to be very, very typical questions. They're just going to be with the basic. There may be chances only 2 to 3 questions will come from business environment unit, or 5-8 max, because it is a unit which has always given a less weightage in PYQs if we go through the PYQs. But it is the easiest unit. For me, I think it is one of the easiest units of whole the syllabus, because it is small, it has very less syllabus, and very easy one. Then the most typical I found was income tax, because there was lot to learn. You have to remember everything. It is not nothing conceptual that you know the concept now you can apply it anywhere. No, everything you have to learn, and questions were also very deep. What this section stand for? There is a definition which section say income tax from very beginning. If you're not like good with remembering things, like remembering sections, dates, people's name, in that case, income tax and that international business, these 2 units you have to start initially, because they are more with the memorizing portion. Then it comes the statistics. It's all mathematical, technical. You have very, very basics, like question will be very basic. There will nothing supersonic. They will like mean, median, mode, which we have studied in our school graduation. These questions will come scalar questions, nominal, ordinal. So these are the favorite questions NTA will ask. They always ask this question, even at least in one shift out of three. So statistics will be comparatively easy if you apply those things. If you do questions, but I analyzed one thing. There are very few the calculative questions, the numerical questions in commerce. There are very few questions that comes in that way. Most of the questions are like conceptual based. If they ask the formula question, then also they'll be asking you in a theory form. You have to explain a part of formula, or you have to find a part of formula. There will be very less chances to get a actual numericals to solve. Might be come from probability, because there are small questions, but there will be no lengthy calculative questions because time manage they उनको भी हमेशा time के हिसाब से, the questions are always according to time. The most important question, 10 questions in second paper is those two long theory questions. What are they say? Reading comprehensions. There are the two reading comprehensions in paper 2 also.
Okay.
They are mostly from the theoretical portion, like business environment, international business, marketing, human resources. They will never be from statistics or numerical portion. So these are very important because they are not direct. This time they were easy. In my attempt, they were not that difficult. But attempt before, in 2020 attempt, they were very difficult. If you go through these questions, the answer was not given in the passage. The passage was talking about some concept. If you know that concept, you will attempt all 5 questions very easily. And if you don't know that particular concept, all 5 questions are good.
Correct.
So this is the very tricky question NTA has like introduced in last 2 years. They are very difficult, and they are two. Like there are 10 out of 100 questions. They are very important.
So you have to be thorough with your learning. अगर आपने कुछ भी point miss किया तो हो सकता है कि that will cost you very much. Correct.
Yeah, 1 point can cost you 5 questions in that portion. Otherwise, 1 point 1 question. In that case, 1.5 questions. So they are big loss. It is a big loss. Plus, one strategy is important. If you pick up a topic, thorough it. Do extensive study on the topic so that if question comes from the topic, you will not lose it. Because if you take all the topics and you are not clear with any of it, you will lose your marks in MCQs, because MCQ requires the base understanding.
Correct.
So you don't have to attempt all 100 questions correctly. You have to attempt all 100 questions, but they should not all be correct. But whatever you know, like if I studied some topic, suppose if I studied in marketing, the curve, which is their product life curve. So if any question comes from product life curve, it should be correct. So that thorough should be my study about that topic. So the topic study is important. It's not that I have to cover everything in my syllabus. No. Whatever you pick up from the PYQs, whatever you pick up, just complete it so that paper में जाके you will not be like कि हरे ये तो मैंने पढ़ा था लेकिन अब मुझको यहाँ पे नहीं आ रहा. That thorough should be studied. That is the main portion. Second paper is very vast, so it's not कि सब cover कर लें. It should be strategized.
Is impossible. Correct.
It's possible, but then you cannot retain that much.
And also time is also a constraint. आपको अगर 6-7 महीने में करना है तो उतने टाइम के अंदर वो मुश्किल है थोड़ा कर पाना.
Yes. Yes, so it's very difficult to complete everything, and it's not also required to complete everything. Why to overburden ourselves to do that?
Correct. So basically definitely, and इसी के अंदर ऐसा भी होता है कि rather than going for 100% of the syllabus, complete your 80-85% syllabus, but that should be done thoroughly. कि आप ऐसा ना हो कि 100% सिलेबस कर रहे हैं पर उसमें किसी भी टॉपिक में कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है. उससे अच्छा है कि आप 70-80% करें पर एक बिल्कुल कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ उसको करें कि उसमें कोई भी क्वेश्चन आए देन यू आर श्योर कि ये मुझसे गलत नहीं होना चाहिए. सो दैट इज अ वेरी गुड थिंग, बिकॉज काफी स्टूडेंट्स ऐसा होता है जो सिलेबस के वास्टनेस को देख के डर जाते हैं और पूरा सिलेबस ही कवर नहीं कर पाऊंगा. उसके चक्कर में प्रिपरेशन थोड़ी सी उनकी उतनी इफेक्टिव नहीं होती जितनी होनी चाहिए डेफिनेटली. एंड इसके अंदर एक चीज और इसमें मुझे पूछनी थी, जैसे 3 घंटे का ये पेपर होता है आपका, तो इसमें हाउ डू यू डिसाइड कि जनरल पेपर 1 में कितना टाइम जाना चाहिए और पेपर 2 में कितना टाइम जाना चाहिए, और पहले आपने क्या अटेम्प्ट किया, कि पहले आपने जनरल पेपर अटेम्प्ट किया या पहले आपने कॉमर्स अटेम्प्ट किया?
Sir, I went to general paper first in the series also, but the 1 hour for general paper and 2 hour for commerce. It's divided by NTA. But my aim was to complete the 50 question of first paper in at least at max 50 minutes, so that I have that 10 minutes extra reserve for the end.
Correct.
In the questions which I have to think or everything. Similarly, with the paper, second paper also, I targeted to complete it 10 to 15 minutes before the exam finishes. So that was my target. But I divided my whole 3 hours, like 1 hour for paper one and 2 hour for paper two, as like 50 question is there and 100 question is there. So, but within paper, I focus on doing my DI and reading comprehension first. And then the single liners, because these take time. So if I invest too much time in single liners question or single question, then if the LR is easy, if the DI is easy, then in time constraint I'm going to make these questions wrong. Just because I have only 5 minutes to complete those DI. It's very difficult to complete DI in 5 minutes, but you can attempt 7 question, 8 question single liners in 5 minutes. So I started doing those paragraph questions first. Similarly, in paper 2, I completed both my the reading comprehensions first, and then I started with the single liner questions. But the paper was really lengthy in my shift, 25th evening. Paper was lengthy, so I completed my paper like 10-15 minutes before the time, with 20 questions remaining, paper 1, paper 2 both, which I didn't know anything about.
करेक्ट.
So I just
या सो डेफिनेटली तो पहले जो टफ है अगर उसको कर लेते हैं तो एक थोड़ा सा कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल भी इंक्रीज हो जाता है कि ओके द टफ पार्ट इज ऑलरेडी डन एंड नाउ आई कैन फोकस ऑन टू द सिंपल थिंग्स. करेक्ट, डेफिनेटली. एंड इसके अंदर जैसे आपने खुद बोला कि इसका सिलेबस बहुत वास्ट होता है, तो डिड यू अप्लाइड एनी स्ट्रेटेजीज और डिड एनी थिंग्स जिससे आपने, जैसे शॉर्ट नोट्स काफी बच्चे होते हैं बोलते हैं मैं शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाता हूँ या मैं चिट्स, तो मैं पेपर के ऊपर छोटे छोटे जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो लिख के रखता हूँ सो दैट मेमोराइज मैं इसको जल्दी कर सकूं. तो कुछ इस तरह की स्ट्रेटेजीज थी आपकी जिससे आपको रिवीजन में हेल्प मिलती थी जब भी, क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मैंने आज एक चैप्टर पढ़ा है और पेपर मेरा 6 महीने बाद है, तो 3-4 महीने तक मैंने उस पेपर को अगर उस चैप्टर को उठा के ही नहीं देखा तो मैं भूल जाता हूँ कि मैंने उसमें क्या पढ़ा था. तो एक प्रॉपर टाइम टू टाइम रिवीजन की भी रिक्वायरमेंट रहती है, तो उसमें आपने फिर कैसे मिली?
सर नोट्स तो किसी भी एग्जाम के लिए सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट होते हैं. आई हैड बुक्स, आई हैड even I had PDFs from Google and many sources I have collected, but my notes are the must for me. I have written everything new I found. Like if I'm watching some video on YouTube, if I get something new, I write it down. I'm doing PYQ. There are 4 options in a question. I know the right answer, but I know what others. I don't know what other 3 are. So I go on Google or in books and I study those 3 points and I used to write this down. I have a lot of notes, like very simple, concise one-liners note. Like if there is a topic, I'll write it in my language in 1 line, so that while reading that 1 line, I'll remember every whole the paragraph which I have studied 5 months back. It's not possible to retain what you have studied 6 months, 7 months back on the day of paper. Correct. If 1 month before the paper, you have to revise everything what you have studied in 5 months, 6 months, so that it will stay with you. So that you can only do through notes. It's not possible last time to take up the book and study everything. Or even if you have highlighted, it's not possible. You are reading the highlighted one and now you are started reading whole paragraph. This is how our mind works. Let's catch everything. So we will not only read the highlighted portion or the stars which we have made on the book. We will read everything again and we will lose the time. It's best to maintain the notes from very beginning in a clear separated way. So that at the time if I'm studying and I want notes from a topic in my bundle of notes, I'll know where to look at. It should not be haphazard कि आज यहाँ पे ये लिख लिया, आज यहाँ पे ये लिख लिया, and at the end of the day we cannot find where we have written. Managing your studies is definitely equally very important. It's very important.
And on the similar guidelines, like in the Eduncle also, there are different types of 3 tests like USP, VSP and MSP. तो USP में unit wise, तो इसी चीज को सोच के बनाया गया था. यूएसपी में यूनिट वाइज टेस्ट है, वीएसपी में थोड़ा सा मिक्स क्वेश्चन होते हैं एंड एमएसपी में फुल सिलेबस पेपर होता है. सो हाउ वाज दैट हेल्पफुल लाइक इन यू कैन से स्ट्रक्चरिंग योर स्टडीज?
I used to solve them daily. Like I didn't sit and give 3 hours paper on, because there was in a loose copy. There was in a booklet form. I had a book, so there was in a booklet form. I used to attempt 20-30 questions daily. Like if today I completed my topic like research methodology in first paper research aptitude, then I'll take the unit book, and then I'll solve those 50 questions given from that unit. Then those questions which I don't know in there, I'll circle them and then I'll study them. That's how I use the unit books and the 3 unit combined books also, the mixed question also, and the whole papers with the 100 papers, 50 papers, the whole papers I solved at the end. After completing whole the unit once, then I started solving papers, model test papers. So that was very helpful. Like in model test papers, I used to keep a watch, 1 hour alarm. Then it should be in a real setting so that you get accustomed of doing it in an hour. Otherwise, if you don't have a time, you will go lenient, and then again that time management issue will arise.
Correct.
So from the starting, try to solve within the limits so that you can complete your 50 questions in 40-45 minutes. You will be very relaxed reading the paper. There will be no nervousness to get the questions wrong or to complete the paper. There should not be like that. So yeah, that's how I use the whole questions in like daily to daily. I use daily. I didn't set around like now let's take the question book and do questions. I use them daily with my students.
यस एंड काफी स्टूडेंट्स का एक ये कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कि लाइक अगर नेट जेआरएफ क्लियर करना है तो जस्ट डू द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. अगर हमने सारे प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लिए हैं देन इट इज सफिशिएंट टू क्वालिफाई द नेट जेआरएफ. तो ये जो सोच है कितनी सही है?
No, sir, it's not 100% true. In first paper, you can say that because there are hundreds of PYQs for every unit, you can go with PYQs. But it's not like if I'm reading a question and there is one answer that is correct, so you will ignore other 3 options. Next time, they're not going to give you question from that particular option A. They will be giving questions from option B, B, C, D.
Correct.
So if you are doing PYQ like that, if you're reading a question and you're going through all 4 options, now you're reading all 4 options, like all 4 types of research given, and you are studying all 4. If you're doing like this, yeah, PYQs are enough for paper 1. Paper 2 PYQs are not enough. Paper 2, you have to go through units, you have to go through books and studies, because paper 2 is very vast. They are not going to repeat anything except 6-7 points or 6-7 questions. Nothing is going to be repeat. Every question will be new. This time we had lots and lots of new questions. I was like, PYQs, after solving PYQs, the only help I get was I know what will be the type of questions. Correct. From which unit questions come, PYQs cannot tell that in paper 2. Correct. Yeah. Correct. You have to study the units deeply.
And any reviews of, or how was your experience of the Eduncle material जो आपने use किया in terms of theory as well as the number of questions, level of questions, coverage of the syllabus. So was it helpful for you, and what are your reviews about it?
Yes, sir. In paper 2, Eduncle material was very good because it was concise. It was not too much like if I'm studying, I cannot finish it. It was concise. It was very good. In paper 1 also, it was very good. I faced like due to the change in syllabus in 1 year, there might be some differences in questions, which are questions and material. But yeah, it was very good for the base development, like on which you can now attempt the questions. Without going through that material, I was not able to understand the question. After going through the whole material, I went to each and every line of those all 10 to 15 books I had. So it is very important. The material helped me a lot in paper 1 also and paper 2 also. Paper 2, I don't have to touch many books from my college, and just because of the material I have. Otherwise, I have to take GST book different for law and other company law different. I had one book, I completed everything. Even if there is a PYQ which is not covered, there is something related to them in the book. From there, I can get the answer. In paper 1 also similarly. But yeah, there is a point that you should go with MCQs and then content. It should not be, if you read the content and don't do MCQ, then content cannot help.
Correct.
You have to do question, content, question, content.
Yeah. Reading and practice both are equally important. अगर आप पढ़ते ही जा रहे हो पर प्रैक्टिस करके खुद को टेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हो तो it does not give you any results, और आपको एक रियलिटी चेक भी नहीं मिलता है कि आपने जो पढ़ा है वो आपको याद है या नहीं. definitely. So that
Yeah.
is very important. And any coming to although you have discussed in very detail everything about your preparation, so that is very nice to hear. Any tips for the students who are preparing and are looking to give the UGC net exam in this year from your experience?
The two, three things are the most important. First, writing the notes, because they will be your best friend at the end when you will be very nervous to give the exam. Second thing, be motivated. There used to be the days I was disheartened, like, oh, I should take a job, I am doing that much work and everything. So at that point, you should hold on to the thought why you have started doing this. And the third thing is, don't be scared of exam.
Correct.
It is the least scary 3 hours of, because you will be very busy giving paper, you will not have time to get scared at that point.
Correct.
So these are the least scary portion of your whole journey, is that exam when you're sitting there. So don't be scared of exam. And yeah, write the things on big chart papers, stick them on your table, go through them again and again for topics which require memorization. Because yeah, there will be 20 to 30 questions related to memorizing. You cannot say कि नहीं इतना बड़ा एग्जाम है तो रट के काम नहीं चलेगा. You have to memorize things.
Correct. And so now you have cleared the JRF. So अब आप future में are you going for PhD or what you are looking to go forward in career?
Right now my 3 months of post graduations are left. I'll be completing my post graduation in May. So I'll planning to appear in interviews for PhD as well as assistant professor.
Mm-hmm.
I will look into it. If I get a good university, like top universities or institute on PhD, then I'll go for PhD. Otherwise, I'll take assistant professor and then next year again try for PhD.
Nice. Okay. So it was nice interacting with you, Siddhi, and you give a very beautiful insights. And we at Eduncle team wish you all the luck for your future and for your future aspirations, and hope that you will achieve all the success that you deserve, definitely. And we are thankful that you believed in Eduncle and you went through the material of Eduncle. And yeah, all the best for your future.